Okay, so for class this morning, I'd like to cover some of the content that our yoga teacher training group is doing. They are in the yoga psychology training. So you're going to hear me talking about the 5 states of mind, the 5 mind states that the Yoga Sutras tell us we can succumb to or we can cultivate. And a reminder that the number 5 is very popular in yoga. So 5 yamas, 5 niyamas, 5 causes of suffering, 5 layers of the human experience, 5 elements, 5 organs of action, and so on. So also 5 states of mind. There's actually 10 yamas and 12 niyamas in the system that I'm taught in and that I teach, but most of you have heard about 5 yamas and 5 niyamas, so I say it that way because the number 5 is popular. The 5 in Sanskrit is pancham, the number 5, pancham. So there's 5 kinds of mind states, and illustrated on the hand, they are disturbed over here at the pinky, and then dull, distracted, one-pointed with the pointer finger, and lucid. So the journey of yoga is hopefully the journey to that more lucid or at the least one-pointed state, and less journeying towards disturbed or dull. Because we've been studying the gunas, let me make a note that the disturbed is associated with the raja guna, out of balance, and dull is associated with the tamas guna, also out of balance. So succumbing to rajas in excess, succumbing to tamas in excess. So rajasic and disturbed, going up and out, unable to think clearly or to make use of consciousness or love. And then dull, going down and in and sort of plummeting and unable to make use of the materials of life, the raw materials included, but also again, unable to access consciousness and love. And then distracted, which is the middle where most of us are hovering about in day-to-day life. We might have excursions into disturbed and dull, but generally, if we're in the average mind of the human being, we're in distracted mind, distracted, which means we could easily succumb to going to dull or disturbed, but we could also be inclined towards one-pointed and towards lucid. Okay, so let's sit for a few moments together now quietly, and we will begin with a chant and some pranayama. So please take your comfortable upright seat as you know it to be. You can rest your hands in your lap. Momentarily close your eyes. And when you're connecting with yourself upon arriving here for practice, you can ask, well, where am I on those 5 mind states? More disturbed, more dull, more distracted, more one-pointed, or more lucid? And you can ask of your mind, does it feel more rajasic, out of balance? More like the Tasmanian devil? More tamasic, out of balance? More like a sloth, like a languishing around, more dull? Any possibility that your mind is more sattva, out of balance? A little more like detached, dissociated, not embodied? Or perhaps you have a relatively good balance of the gunas. Maybe the mind is stable enough to be here, alert enough to pay attention, and gracious enough not to be too fixed on one thought or another. So enough tamas, rajas, and sattva to be on your mat and in your practice. Then you may also ask this question of your body. Which of the gunas feels most present, or how are the balance of the gunas in your physical body right now? And please bring your hands together at your heart. We're going to chant asatoma satgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amritam gamaya. And the reason that we're chanting this one is because two of the gunas are mentioned in the chant, sat, sattva, and tamas. Asatoma satgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Okay, let's begin. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Open your eyes. I want to give you one more framework for your practice today because it's really relevant, and it gives you a taste of how the psychology of yoga fits into your life. So there are these 5 states of mind, and then there are 5 ways of knowing. It's called the 5 ways of knowing, the 5 vrittis. So we can have clear perception, misperception, memory, fantasy, or deep sleep. And by the way, the word memory is the same as I talk about when we practice smriti. We practice remembrance. So it's the same. Smriti means memory or remembering. And then the word for deep sleep is nidra, which you hear about when you hear yoga nidra is being promoted as a practice. So let's imagine that you're at the distracted mind and you have a memory of something painful. Do you go to sattva, Do you go to the lucid mind when you have the memory of something painful? Do you go to tamas, to the dull mind? Or do you go to the rajas, the disturbed mind, a painful memory? Where do you go on the 5 kinds of mind? Well, let's say you have a pleasant memory. Where do you go? Do you go towards the lucid? Do you become like more transparent, more translucent, more expansive? The pleasurable memory, it's not really pulling you away from the present moment. You still feel connected to consciousness and the divine. Or do you have the pleasant memory and become distracted? So medium, average mind state. Do you have the pleasant memory and then go to dull? No more pleasant memories, missing pleasant memories? Or do you go pleasant memory and then over to disturbed? Wish I had more pleasant memories. That pleasant memory, what's gone to my life since the pleasant memory? How come I don't have more pleasant memories? So you can think of the disturbed mind is filled with grasping and aversion. The dull mind is often exhausted, but has had healthy doses before that of grasping and aversion. So it kind of spins itself out. And then you can think of like adrenal fatigue there at the dull mind. And then distracted, pleasant memory, non-pleasant memory. Still moving towards one-pointed attention, still moving towards the lucid, the sattva. Pleasant memory, non-pleasant memory. In this particular part of the Yoga Sutras, in this particular part of the practice, pleasant memory, non-pleasant memory, we continue. This is a difficult practice. If you've been to the marketplace in India, you've had the chance to practice not being swayed by beautiful objects to purchase and not being swayed by aversive poverty, illness, begging, harassing to the point of begging to the point of harassing. If you've been in the marketplace in India trying to get to your destination, you've had to say no. And you've also had to say no to stay on the course. If you say yes to the beggars, what happens there is one hand that you give to, many hands come immediately because the situation is so dire. If you say yes to one vendor, many vendors come. They have all the shawls on the arm. They're just ready to come out to the street, like 12 colors. And if you're talking to one vendor, this vendor is like talking to you at the same time, showing how amazing their things are. So in the marketplace of the mind, then we have this opportunity while we're practicing to say no to that which we're aversive to and to say no to that which we are craving or desiring. So we are saying no to the disturbed mind. We're not saying yes to the dull mind. We're not saying yes to distracted mind. We are aiming for one-pointed mind and then to lucid. So this will be our focus during the practice this morning. Any questions you need to ask before we go forward? I have spoken clearly enough. Okay. We all have our challenges. Sometimes yesterday, maybe it was yesterday or the day before. Oh, so much cuteness in the kittens. I couldn't even keep my balance in the pose. At other days, they're running up to the top of my shoulder and I'm still doing yoga. It's okay. But there are days where we're more susceptible to this wandering mind. So let's see how the practice can help us not to feel aversion for that which is difficult, nor clinging or grasping for that which we think of as beautiful, and to have our distracted mind move towards one-pointed and towards lucid. So having that, now please interlace the fingers, point the heels of the hands straight down, lift your spine, lift the base of your skull, and using the Ujjayi Breath, please inhale, lower back, mid back, upper back and heart. Raise your arms, gaze up. And then exhale, keep the arms up but gaze down and zip the exhale up along the front line of your spine. And then inhale to go up again, even gazing up. Exhale, pull the elbows wide and place your pinkies at the base of your skull, gazing down. Inhale, elbows forward, lift your chest and your heart, gaze up. And then exhale, level your head and bring the left elbow forward, twist to your right. Inhale to center, gaze down. Exhale, go to your left. Inhale to center, gaze down. Now this time, exhale to press up. And inhale, side bend to your left. Exhale, pull up. Inhale to your right. Exhale, rise up. Inhale to open. And exhale, return your hands to your heart. And ask your distracted mind to remain one-pointed. Now from yesterday, raise your right arm up with your inhalation. Bend the right elbow, place your hand on your shoulder blade and hold the elbow with your left hand. We're going to go up to a little back bend. Watch out for your hair to not get pulled. Now, as you're going up, the sense of the back bend is really on the upper back and primarily the right hemisphere of the upper back. So root down into your right hip and stabilize your low abdomen and your mid-torso. And then make a little side bend to your left. Now, as you next inhale, rise up, raise your right arm, lower your left arm, and then really slowly lower your right arm out and down. And like yesterday, let's have both arms dangle so your hands will get heavier. The right hand especially will seem to get warmer, warmer, and then it will come to neutral. And raise your left arm up. Bend your left elbow, place your hand on your shoulder blade. Make a little back bend in the upper back, but stabilize your lower abdomen and mid-torso. Now, of course, you can feel the skin of the body, the fabric of the body stretching and opening, and that's delicious for most of us. At this point in our yoga journey, we feel like, oh, that's so good. But I'm going to ask you to sense not so much the annamaya kosha, the physical body, but to sense the energy body. When you make this little back bend in the left upper back, what happens to the energy of your body? And if one thing that might happen is that you become uplifted and therefore ungrounded, remind yourself about stabilizing in your low pelvis and your mid-torso. You side bend to your right, keep the left hip grounded. If the effort becomes awkward in the body, notice what happens to the energy body, not only to the muscles and the bones. And where can you, with the breath, cultivate a kind of smoothness in the effort or the position? And then rise up, lower your right arm down, raise your left arm up. And as you take the left arm out to the side, let it drift down and give your attention to your left hand, fingers and thumbs. Watching only that in the present. So you're one-pointed, single-focused. And we're going to rise up to standing. Yesterday, I taught 2 standing practices that are really called kriyas, and I want to teach another one this morning. So what we were just doing is a way of first tuning in. It's neither rajasic nor tamasic. Those practices can raise your rajas, like you feel more present, but they can help to settle your tamas. You'll feel more grounded. This is a rajas practice, what we're going to do here. So take a wide stance. Turn your toes out, knees out, and come down to the jazz dance warm-up pose. Press out from the inner thighs to your hands. Lengthen the torso. And what we're going to be doing is adding a rapid exhale using bhastrika to press the breath out using the strength of the solar plexus. We'll do about 30 exhales. Let's begin. Exhale completely. Push down, inhale, rise up. Make your feet parallel, please. And exhale, come down to prasarita, padottanasana. Energize your legs, but relax the torso and your arms. So we're stimulating the 3rd chakra there, the fire center. So there's a little rajas involved, and we're trying to stimulate that center to slough off the residue of tamas that you might have come to class with if you had just come from sleep or you felt like your sleep was shortened because of the clock. Place your hands up on your hips again. Please rise up. Turn your toes out, bend your knees. We're going to repeat. Okay, so the solar plexus is also the center for your radiance, the sun center. So beginning with a little sip of an inhale. Inhale, rise up. Make the feet parallel. Exhale, come down. Prasarita, padottanasana. Now, while you stay down in the pose, walk your hands forward so that your upper body is going to be stretched out a little bit like having your arms overhead in the sequence we did while we were sitting. And I'm going to ask you to be really specific now with your extra focused mind, more focused than when you arrived. And the specificity is inhale to the pelvis, the lower third. Without interruption, inhale to the mid-torso. Continue up to the upper torso and chest. So the inhale, you're going to just note that there are 3 sections to the torso. We're not interrupting the breath, but I want you to sense those as distinct regions. During the exhale, do the same. Try to sense the pelvic floor and the deep abdomen. The mid-torso, upper abdomen. And what happens in the chest at the 3rd part of the exhale. And do that for 2 more breath cycles, please. And then bring yourself down to either Vajrasana or to sitting again, as you did for your meditation. Now we will have a pranayama that is to elicit the more lucid mind. So taking one pointed and moving to lucid. So take your upright seat, please. And please clasp your hands. This is review from February, but some of you may not know it, so I'll give the instructions. We'll be placing the hands on the head. And we're going to inhale first, middle, upper, all three regions of the torso. We'll suspend the inhale at the top. When we exhale, we'll be lowering the hands down like this. This is called pressure release valve breathing. So as we're releasing down and down and down, you're going to snug the belly in to make a complete exhale. At the end of that exhale, you radically relax the belly. Having had a full squeeze, you relax and let the next inhale come in. During the exhale, you're going to be blowing out the mouth with a teeny tiny opening with pursed lips, like a little straw. So breathing in through the nose for the inhale and out through the mouth for the exhale. Let's begin. So inhale, suspension. Release very slowly, also releasing your hands. A complete squeeze, complete relaxation. So you allow the next inhale just to come in. Now repeating. Breathe in through the nose, lower, middle, and upper, up to suspension. Exhale when you're ready to. Deeply relax after the complete squeeze of the exhale. And one more time. Breathing in when you're ready, suspending for your own duration, exhaling when your body is ready to. And deeply relax and see if you can sense even a glimpse of the lucid mind. Now it's our aim to practice physical asana, but to bring the quality of mind that pranayama can cultivate, to bring that quality of mind in. So it's our aim to sense this is what's carrying us, not to leave this here, have some physical asana, and then come back to the sattvic or lucid mind for savasana. So this is how we learn to stay in the sattva guna, in the marketplace of the mind and the marketplace of yoga asana. So you don't need a blanket right now. I would like you to have 2 blocks. Please return to prasarita, padottanasana. So this is a equal pose, equilateral, symmetrical pose, a relatively balanced pose. Place your palms under your shoulders directly and the blocks under your hands. Now keeping the hands steady, let's inhale while we're centered here. And then exhale, bend your right knee. So the hands are going to stay where they are. You'll have a little side bend in the torso. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend your left knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, go right. And it is okay to turn the toes slightly out if your hips or knees need that from you. Inhale, rise to center at the pace of the in-breath. Exhale, glide to your left at the pace of the out-breath, which means since most of you have been practicing for a while, the movement is going to take you some time to complete. Your breath is a little bit longer, not a little bit shorter. So inhale, rise up to center. Exhale, glide to your right. Inhale, center. One more time. Exhale, glide to your left. Inhale, glide back up to center. Exhale completely. So now we're going to change something, same sequence, but a slight variation. When you exhale to go down to your right, I'm going to ask you to also pick up the toes of your left foot. And then inhale, rise up to center. And when you're exhaling down to your left, so you'll bend the left knee out, but raise the toes of the right foot. And then we'll glide back up to center. Okay, let's begin. Inhale while you're centered. Exhale, glide to your right. Notice your ability to take your time with the length of your exhale. And you raise the toes of the left foot up, the exhale finishes. Then inhale, notice your ability to take your time coming back up to center. And exhale, glide to your left. Begin to raise the toes of your right foot. And continue, please. One recommendation I do have is that your body weight is more in the back hemisphere of your legs and hips. So you're not really tipping forward precariously onto the toes of the support foot. And you don't go down left or right farther than you can easily or easefully come back up from. We're going to go one more time to the left. And then place your hands between your feet and bow towards the legs in prasarita padottanasana. And please shift your hands to the tops of your thighs. Press against the tops of the thighs, rise up to standing. Let's go heel toe in until you're standing in mountain pose. And you can feel, okay, what energy is moving? How are the gunas in the physical body right now? And what is the quality of your mind? More disturbed, dull, distracted, one-pointed, or lucid? More resistance is disturbed and dull. We're caught in resistance. You could say curiosity or intrigue are there at distracted. We move to willingness and concentration as we go forward from there. So now we're going to be using prasarita padottanasana and warrior two mixed together. So come back down with your hands on your blocks. Turn your right foot directly out to the right. Turn the left toes slightly in, the left heel slightly out. Take your right hand up against your right knee. So the right knee, when you bend, goes like warrior two. So that's what the legs are doing. And with your right hand up against your right knee, lengthen your spine in the same direction it was for prasarita padottanasana. Okay, so now we're going to be using the breath again. On the inhale, straighten your right leg. You can keep your right hand where it is. On the exhale, bend your right knee. Come deeply into your warrior two with your right leg. Now, deep, of course, means be there fully with your mind and your body. Doesn't mean that you have to bend more deeply. So inhale up to center. Keep your mind deeply connected to your right hip. Exhale and bend. Okay, one more time. Inhale to straighten. And exhale to bend. Now, as you stay here, press your right hand into your right knee, and deliberately, the right side of the waist is longer than the left side. So you might be feeling the right lower back, right rib cage. Deliberately lengthen through the crown of your skull. And then see to what extent you can keep your right knee where it is and place your right hand back on the block. Slowly straighten your right leg, keeping the right leg as it is so the knee still points in line with the toes. Pick up your left hand and make this variation of parita trikonasana. And then exhale, come down and make your right foot, please, parallel to your left foot. Change the feet to the other side. So the left foot points directly out. Turn your right toes slightly in. Bend your left knee. Place your left hand up on your left knee. Then inhale to straighten the left leg. And exhale to deeply bend. Don't go past your threshold physically, please. Inhale to straighten. And watch yourself taking the length of the inhale for the length of movement. How are you doing with the patience required for that? And the next time you're going to bend the left knee, go ahead and stay. Enjoy several breath cycles where you can sense the left lower back, left side belly, left rib cage, possibly your left inner thigh. And see what it's like if you maintain the left leg on its own and place your left hand back on the block. And inhale, straighten your left leg so that your left knee points in the same direction as your toes. It should not be rolling in. And then pick up the right arm for this variation of Parvrita Trikonasana. The Parvrita means revolved. Trikonasana means triangle posture. When you next exhale, go ahead and lower down. Place your right hand on the block. Make the feet parallel. And let's go heel toe, heel toe, heel toe to center. Rise up to mountain pose and check and see again. All right, what is getting cultivated here? Just in case any of you has a sense of this, I want to name it. We are working from the first chakra to the second and just touching the third there. So if you feel like there's a certain energy awakening at the pelvic floor or the deep belly, that's wonderful. You're not having an unusual experience. You're having what I hope is part of your experience. You're not doing anything wrong. Okay, now let's step to the front of the mat. Place your blocks. We're going to use the blocks this morning for surya namaskar because I want to play with plank pose and a couple variations there. So please come forward with your two blocks. And join your hands at your heart. It's really fun to teach you guys different inroads to these things with the gunas and to craft the sequence that makes something explicit. So thank you for your interest. Using Ujjayi Breath, let's inhale to go up. Exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Okay, inhale, rise up, root into your right foot, pick up your left knee. Exhale, glide back with the toes of the left foot. Inhale, rise up, crescent. And exhale, come wide, forward, down, touch the two blocks. Inhale to plank. Exhale, squeeze your left knee forward between your elbows. Inhale to plank. Exhale, reach backwards, downward facing dog pose, and step your right foot forward between your blocks. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, step forward, raise your left knee up. Inhale, arms wide, step down. Exhale to the heart. Second side, inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, press into your left heel, rise up, lift your right knee. Exhale, glide back, bend the left knee, touch the right toes down. Inhale, crescent. And then exhale, arms wide, go slowly. You have the entire exhale. What a luxury. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, squeeze your right knee forward. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog, and step your left foot forward. Inhale, rise to your crescent. Exhale, descend. Take your time. Inhale, forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. I'll have to improvise here because I gave you one short. Inhale, rise up, right knee up. And exhale, down to the heart. We're going to add to that. So inhale, raise your arms. Exhale, chair pose. Right foot stays down. Inhale, raise your left knee. Exhale, glide back. Inhale, crescent. Exhale again. You have the whole breath cycle to arrive. Just hands to the blocks. And then inhale, plank pose. Exhale, left knee up between your elbows. Inhale, plank. Exhale, left knee to the outside of the elbow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, left toes out to the left. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog, and step your right foot forward. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, step forward, raise your left knee. Inhale to open. Exhale to center. Inhale. It's okay to feel some heat coming into your body. You can maintain a one-pointed focus even if the temperature rises. You press into your left heel. Inhale to come up. Exhale, right toes back. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, slowly down. Place your palms for plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, right knee forward. Inhale, plank. Exhale, right knee to the outside. Inhale, plank. Exhale, right toes out. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward dog and left foot forward. Inhale to rise, crescent. Exhale, step forward, right knee up. Inhale to open. Exhale to center. Stand really still and connect to the part of you that is able to observe. Connect to that in you that is not your heart rate, it's not your breath, it's It's not your body temperature. It's neither coming nor going. That which isn't pulled by memory, pleasant or non-pleasant. And please release both hands, and let's come down to the floor, shall we? Oh my God, you're so tired. You're so tamasic. You're demonstrating. Okay, we're going to be doing bridge pose first without blocks, then we're going to be using the blocks. Hi, honey. Oh, yeah. Put that over there, please. Okay, please lie on your back. You can put the blocks within reach so we can place them under the feet when the time comes. But for right now, please lie down and check that you have room overhead for your arms. But start with the arms down alongside your torso. Now, as you come into a sense of your center here, let's practice what is one pointed attention in the here and now. And allowing your mind to stay in that sort of one pointed to lucid focus. Begin the Ujjayi breath. When you hear the Ujjayi breath, resist the memory of how many Ujjayi breaths. Resist patterning it by memory and try to sense it as the fresh experience. Here is this breath cycle, this Ujjayi. When you next exhale, curl the tailbone up and the top of the sacrum down. Then inhale, raise your hips and your arms. Bridge pose. And exhale, lower down your arms, your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Roll to the bottom of that. And then inhale, raise your knees towards your heart. Exhale, curl your chest and shoulders up. Inhale slowly down, return to the starting position. And exhale, let the tailbone go up and the top of the sacrum come down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, raise your knees towards your chest. Exhale, curl forward. Inhale, lower down to your starting position. Exhale, curl the pelvis. And last time, inhale to roll up. Exhale to roll down. Inhale, raise your knees to your chest. Exhale, curl forward. Inhale, lower down. And exhale to relax. And please place 2 blocks under your feet. Now, you can do the blocks on the flat setting, but you can also use the medium setting. Root down through your heels. Raise your hips up a couple inches. And then take the hands under. You're going to tuck the shoulder blades under. Some of you will prefer to clasp your hands. Some of you will not be able to clasp the hands. You could choose to hold a yoga strap if you like. So when you get the shoulders well tucked under, then raise your hips up to bridge pose. Now the Ujjayi breath can be very simple here. This is a pose that I know you have the stamina to sustain. It's also an inward turning pose. You have the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th chakra. Notice your patience, equanimity, a gentle kind of quiet stamina. Or notice the lack of those qualities. And of course, you always respect your own body. When you genuinely need to release from the pose, you don't push past that. Now, when you exhale, I'm going to ask you to lower down, if you haven't yet, lower your hips down so that you're staying with the back bend spine. If possible, lower your hips down to sit on your forearms or your wrists. With your feet, you can put the blocks aside. Press the shoulders back. You are sitting on your wrists on purpose. I know you can't all sit on your wrists. There's a certain amount of shoulder flexibility involved. Put the palms flat down. Stretch your legs out straight. Start raising the chest and the heart. Use your shoulder blades to lift the sternum from underneath, as if there were a string attached to the sternum. Go up and into fish pose, matsyendrasana. Press your hips down, keep the legs steady. Raise your heart, set the shoulders back. And then start to slowly slide down the back of your head. Release your hands and arms. Put the arms out to the side. And watch your hands getting warmer and then returning to homeostasis. And try again noticing that aspect of you that is noticing, that which is seeing through you. Observe the pulsation is still going on, quite likely. As strange as it sounds, what I'll say, it's based on Friday night from our Dharma time. So remind yourself that you are not your fingernail clippings. You are not the hair clippings from the haircut. You could not be summarized by the circulation in the body. You are not the skin cells that are sloughing off. Your totality cannot be expressed in your food preferences. Okay, please bend both knees and let's bring the blocks in. Place one block, please, between the two knees. And have the other block, just in case you know that you're not very limber, you're going to place it out where your hand could have support. It would be on this side if I'm going to say left and right. So arms in a T shape. Please bring your knees up to your chest. And then both knees down to your left. And I'm going to request that you bring your knees closer to your chest and heart, not farther from. So this is more flexion for the twist. So as you're opening your right arm out to the side, if the floor is too far away, that's why the block is there. Also, please turn your head to the right. Now exhale, and with your next in-breath, tone the low belly and float your knees up to center. Just in case you need the block for the other hand, you can float it over. And as you take your knees down to the right, keep them again snug towards the chest. Twist your upper back, your heart, your shoulders, and also your head to the left. Twisting poses encompass all of the chakras. When we bring the knees up to the chest like this, we're asking the twist to be more expressive in the upper back, chest, and heart. We're also asking that the lumbar spine, by staying in flexion, you may sense the myofascial region around the torso that's actually tight, whereas if you took the legs down, you could get some improvisation from the sacrum and the hips that would mean you wouldn't have to notice the places that may not usually get your attention. You can exhale and then use some tone in the belly and inhale to come back up to center. Touch your feet to the floor, please. And stretch out for a rustic shavasana. Rustic means not like the spa. So this is super important time this Shavasana because we're going to be sitting up for a bit of pranayama following. So this is where we want the mind not to be tempted by dull or disturbed. And not to just rest in distracted. You have the opportunity right now to stay with one pointed and even to discover a lucid. So allow your mind, your thinking mind, to rest in the actual evidence of the present moment and not to wander to memory nor to fantasy, but to rest really lightly without naming anything pleasant or non-pleasant, without reaching for the likes or the dislikes, without grasping or aversion. Even as the body becomes very still and the thinking mind also goes to stillness, continue resting in the present. Don't fall asleep. Just continue welcoming the return to stillness, the mind at rest at the present. No interest in memory nor fantasy. Allow yourself to be physically still, mentally still, and that which sees through you can see and sense the palpable process, this vitality still happening in the body. Now allow the stillness to go a little bit deeper. Remind yourself you are not your fingernails. You are not your hair. You cannot be summarized by one memory, nor one thought, one state of mind or mood. And please lightly deepen your awareness. Gently wiggle your toes, your fingers. Bend your knees, please. And roll to your side. And then use both hands to come up to sitting. cat snoring for a time. You just stop snoring. Some people used to talk about certain pranayama sounds that sounded like snoring. In this case, we're going to be doing Nadi Shodhana, and there isn't a focus on the sound of the breath. We don't use Ujjayi and Nadi Shodhana at the same time. So we'll be using the full open nostril for the inhale and a partially open, partially closed nostril for the exhale. The other nostril will be closed completely. So let's do one breath together, and then you'll continue at your own pace. Close the right nostril completely. Inhale, left side open. Close the left completely. Exhale, right, partially open. And inhale, right, open. And exhale, left, partially open. And please continue. And finish with your next exhale through the left nostril, partially open. Rest your hands in your lap. Following the pathway of the chakras, you might notice that there is an echo or an activation at the sixth chakra. Even if thoughts are passing through, let them continue on their way. Stay in the lucid sky. Please join your hands together at your heart. We'll close with a chant together, Loka Samasta. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you. Oh, you want to give some teachings? I think your sister was snoring. Okay, so there was tamas, then it was rajas. Oh, a moment of consideration, and it fell back to tamas. Mm-hmm. You're feeling relaxed. You had a good practice. You guys can't see close enough, but his sister has both paws out over the basket, like we do with our ankles sometimes when we're watching, like we might be like lounging like that. She has both paws. I will come up to see you. You can stay there, my little friend. I have to change the camera, so just one moment. Loka Samasta. Okay. And how are you feeling?